What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Week 17 NFL Draftkings and Fanduel final look for tomorrow. This is the toughest week in the NFL season because a lot of teams aren't playing for anything. Some teams already have their spot secured; they're not playing for anything either. But it is a little bit more interesting than previous years because of that extra playoff spot on both sides. So there's a lot more teams that we can choose from that still have something to play for tomorrow. So let's get into the video. As always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow on Twitter at the DFS Process. Join us at the website dfsprocess.net. And let's get started here. So we'll kind of just go position by position here for the NFL week, focusing on the games and the teams that I think at least we kind of hopefully know that they'll play their starters a lot. And then I don't really want to mess around with teams that are resting their starters and playing backup. So at the quarterback position, we know Mahomes is not starting tomorrow against the Chargers. They already have the number one seed locked up in the AFC. Lamar Jackson, they do have something to play for. He's 8K against Cincinnati. He's been playing a lot better recently in terms of fantasy and real life performances. A couple of 30-point games recently. It's a really good spot against Cincinnati. There's really nothing to be scared of about this defense. Price tag 8,000 is expensive though, so we'll see if you are paying up for a quarterback, I think he looks really good if you're willing to sacrifice that much salary. Watson's gonna play. I'm not. I mean, I'd rather go to Lamar Jackson, who has something to play for at $300 more, or go down to Kyler Murray at $7,500, who they also have something to play for. It didn't look like it after they lost last week against the 49ers, but they're still in it. Need a win against the Rams. The Rams also need a win here, but they're going to be missing Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp, so hopefully Kyler Murray and the company can get it done in Los Angeles. So here we go with Murray at $7,500. He has been disappointing recently, except for that game against Philly, but 16, 18, 18, 9. Recent performances. It's not the easiest spot against this Rams defense on the road, but I'm still buying him in a must win. Love the upside that he presents with his legs. The price tag is favorable. Still has DeAndre Hopkins to throw the football to, so as long as he has his number one weapon, I'll feel good about rolling with Kyler Murray every single week. Rodgers looks good as well at 7,400. They can secure that first round in the NFC with a win here against Chicago, or if I think Seattle if they lose. But looks like they're going to be playing their starters for the whole game because I think Seattle plays at the same time. So if you're not paying up $7,000 for a quarterback here, like you have Wilson, not that interested against the 49ers. You could look to like Tannehill, but they're also, if a couple teams win in the early games, and they won't have that much to play for. They'll already have the division locked up if Colts happen to lose, and I think maybe if the Ravens lose, then they already have their spot secured. But both of those teams are kind of facing bad teams, so seems like you'll get a full complement of minutes for the Titans starters. I think quarterbacks to look at cheap are like Kirk Cousins, even though they don't have anything to play for, they are still going to be trying to win here. That's what Dimmer like to do. He's been having his best season as a starter, 32 touchdown passes, career high for him. He's been great. Two great weapons to throw the football to, even three with Irv Smith, how he's looked at as a tight end. He's not going to have Dalvin Cook in the running game, so might be a few more pass attempts here. We saw what Tom Brady can do, or Tom Brady did last week against this Detroit defense. They're just completely giving up on the season. Can't wait for next year. So Cousins, and if they want to take out some of their frustration of the season, most definitely could be tomorrow against this Detroit secondary. So I think he looks solid at 6,300. You could look to a Matt Ryan if you want at 59 against a bad Tampa secondary. You could look to Derek Carr, a couple of teams that don't have anything to play for, but haven't heard that those starters aren't going to play the entire game, so I feel confident that you'll get a full game from Cousins, from Matt Ryan, Carr, and then Trubisky does have something to play for. He's 56 at home against Green Bay. It's should be somewhat of a higher scoring game here, just with how good the Packers offense is, and then the Bears have been able to put up some points recently. But the defense that he's facing, the Packers defense, is middle of the pack. They've been pretty good at stopping quarterbacks this season, but Trubisky has been playing great, and he gives you that upside with his legs. So you could definitely play Trubisky here. And then I'm not interested in Cam Newton, Baker, anybody else that's cheap. All things considered, I think going Kirk Cousins this week is fine at 6,300. You're not breaking the bank for a quarterback. You're getting a solid one. that has a really good matchup and definitely has shown his upside this season. At running back, you have a ton of cheap options I will get to. So I think it's feels pretty good. I feel pretty good about paying up at wide receiver this week and going down at running back. You just have so many guys that are cheap. If you want to pay up for a running back, I think David Montgomery looks great. Always Derrick Henry if you want to pay 94 for him, but if you don't want to pay that much, you have David Montgomery 7,700. He's been playing lights out over the past 5 or 6 weeks. Been super consistent for them. Gets 3 down workload. So, and the matchup is great. Green Bay, they do give up a lot of fantasy points to running backs. So I like Montgomery at this price tag. You have Jonathan Taylor, who's having a really good last few games. He also has been getting you 18 to 20 plus touches in the game. Didn't have any catches last week against that Pittsburgh defense, but it's a completely different story going up against Jacksonville. They should be able to pile up some points here. So Jonathan Taylor looks to have another solid week at 7,400. He looks definitely in play. Then you have Miles Gaskin at $6,500 for guys below 7K. The Dolphins need a win here against Buffalo and they also need some help as well. But they definitely need to take care of their own business and get the win in Buffalo. Gaskin has been great since he was in his first game back last week. Even before he returned, he was playing good football. But last week was awesome. 2 touchdowns in the air. Had that long 59-yard touchdown to close out that game in late in the fourth quarter. Gets you around 14, 15 carries, and another guy that's going to get a lot of third down work as well. He's going to be a good guy to target in the receiving game. They did play Ahmed a few snaps, but he didn't really do anything. So, in a must win, I think they're going to lean on their best players, and that's definitely Gaskin. So, at only $6,500, I like the price tag on him. You have Ezekiel Elliott. They need a win and a Washington loss to clinch the NFC. Good news for them. They play at 1 o'clock, and Washington plays at 8 o'clock. So they need to take care of their own business here at 1 o'clock and get that win. So 64 for Elliott in a must win. I think he's going to get probably over 20 touches here and good price tag. Fine matchup against the Giants. They are going to need a ton of help here. If they're still technically in it, but they need a win and Redskins loss or Washington loss in the night game. Elliott looks fine to me. I think he looks like a good option in the 6K range. I'm looking at him and Gaskin the most. And then you have Madison at $6,100, who a lot of people will play, and I think he looks really solid. With Dalvin Cook, who's going to miss this game with the unfortunate and sudden death of his father. So prayers for him and his family. Hopefully, they all make it out okay. But you're going to see a lot of workload and a lot more involvement for Madison not only in the ground game but also in the receiving game. So $6,100. They did price him appropriately, maybe a little bit underpriced, but when you have Gaskin and Elliott in a similar range, so he looks good. But if he's going to be super popular, I think you can go to some like those two guys a little bit above him. And then you have plenty of guys below $5,000. You have Melvin Gordon at 57, looks fine against the Raiders defense. But below, like you have mid-price running backs that we will get to. The Carolina situation, they're going to be missing both McCaffrey and Mike Davis are both doubtful. So you're going to see Rodney Smith, $4,000, a rookie, handle most of the snaps here. He was even getting a handful of touches backing up Mike Davis in the previous weeks for basically the whole year, but now he'll get his chance to play the entire game, play probably 70% of the snaps, and see what he can do against the Saints defense. It's not easy, but you're getting just so much work out of him. He can also catch passes as well. So for PPR sites like Draftkings, I think he looks solid. And then in the other game, you have Ty Montgomery with every other running back out. Here, you're going to see him be the step up and have to play a ton of snaps at running back. So the Saints are always tricky to target DFS, but with all the injuries, I feel good about Montgomery. They're not going to have Kamara, not going to have still no Michael Thomas, so they have Sanders, another guy that can be productive, but really they are down to just few guys that can make plays, and Montgomery should be out there in the running game and also can play a little bit like receiver as well out of the backfield. So I feel good about targeting 2 running backs in the same game that are going to catch passes and get probably 10 plus carries. So those are the 2 main cheap running backs that I'm looking at. There's still some more running backs right in that 4K range that are going to get a lot of work this week, like Ty Johnson from the Jets. They're matched up against the Patriots defense that is solid on the season and averaging just 22 points given up, but they can't really stop anybody on the ground. And with the Jets banged up at the running back situation, no Frank Gore as well, no P. Ryan. You're going to see a lot of snaps for Johnson here. I like Smith and Montgomery a little bit more, but he's in play as well at 4,300. And like Ito Smith did jump over Todd Gurley, but you saw Gurley get some passing down work still, and still not that interested in him. At 43, I think there's better options cheaper, and Ty Johnson at the same price tag. And that's kind of it for the cheap running backs that I'm considering. Wide receiver is definitely a spot where I want to pay up this week. Feel good about going cheap at running back with the two guys that I have in here. And then wide receiver, Devontae Adams, going to be playing him at 9,200 against the Bears. So, just been the best wide receiver in football. Nobody can question that this season. Him and Tyreek Hill. I guess Tyreek Hill, I'll give him a shout out. But 109 catches, 17 touchdowns. Like Diggs has more catches, but 17 touchdowns. You can't compete with that. Uh, Rodgers just glues onto him every single time he drops back. Double-digit targets out of him every game except for 3, and 2 of those were 9-target games. Just feel really good about playing Davante Adams this week, even though it's a tougher matchup against the Bears defense. I think with him, Ridley, and then like Diggs, and the Bills don't have it really much to play for, so they might not play their starters the whole game. So really, him and Ridley at the top. I think I'll try to get both of them in. No Julio Jones again for tomorrow for the Falcons. So Ridley is going to continue to be the number one guy for Matt Ryan. He was pretty slow to start that game against the Chiefs. Had that long catch, 54 yards in the second quarter. And then at the end of the game, they were targeting him a little bit. Matt Ryan missed him a couple times, which would have been big gains, and one touchdown that he kind of let him out of bounds. But I feel good about Ridley. He's just been so good to close out in his ever since Julio Jones has missed some time with injuries this season, with hamstring and some other injuries. Ridley has always stepped up, and I feel good about him stepping up against a Tampa secondary that we know they can stop the run, but they can't really stop the pass. So I feel good about going Calvin Ridley to get a piece of this game. And then other wide receivers to play, you have Mike Evans at 75. He looks solid. You have Godwin if you want to stack this game up a little bit. He's 6,600. And then the other guy to pay up for is probably Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson and Hopkins both have tough matchups, but both are going to get a lot of looks, so you can play both of them in tournaments. And then cheap receivers this week, you do have plenty to target and choose from. T.Y. Hilton looks appealing at $5,800, just with how much better he's looked in the second half of the season. 7, 6, 7, 11, 5, 6 targets for him going back to week 10. It's a really, really good spot against Jacksonville. So if they're going to take advantage of this really good matchup, give Hilton some deep shots. Feel like they have a good chance of connecting on at least one of them. And I don't see Hilton being talked about too much this week, so I feel fine about him at $5,800. Looking at some of the other receivers in that price tag, I think I'd play Hilton over like Marquise Brown. Play him over like obviously Juju with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback. Play him over Robert Woods with no Jared Goff this week. So I think I like T.Y. Hilton a lot. You have Amari Cooper at 58. I think he looks playable as well. And then for potential cheaper options here, you have Jamison Crowder at 5,000. The Jets, all season they were so bad, and then they decided to win 2 games in a row, Week 15 and Week 16 against the Rams and the Browns. Nobody saw that coming, but now they have no shot at the number 1 pick. But Jets seem like they don't care. They want to keep winning. For some reason, Sam Darnold wants to keep his job heading into next season. Maybe closing out the year with 3 straight wins will earn him that opportunity. But it's been Crowder who's just been that guy that he has locked in on all season. 7 touchdown receptions on the season. Last week he had not only a receiving touchdown, but he had a passing touchdown. They got him involved with the carry as well. Just 5K for him against this Patriots defense. I feel good about it. He's going to avoid Stephon Gilmore, who plays just because Crowder plays from the slot. So you'll see Gilmore shut down either Mims or Perryman, and then Crowder should get even more looks this week. So I think he looks solid at 5K. Gallup had that big week last week. People might chase that. His price tag did go up, though, so 5K. I will not be on Gallup this week. And then mainly it. There's always cheap options that you can punt with, just like because you're having a lot of teams resting their starters. But I don't really want to play the Chiefs guys just because I don't feel great about them. And then, yeah, I don't see myself really targeting any Chiefs. That's why I went cheap at running back so I can pay up at receiver. Tight end. Tight end wise, there's a few that I like in this like 4K range. It's gonna start with Herb Smith, $3,900. If you want to play Kirk Cousins and you don't have the cap or don't have the salary cap to play him with a receiver, or you'd rather pay up for like Ridley and Adams, then you can definitely pair him with Herb Smith, who has been the go-to guy in the red zone for Cousins ever since Rudolph's been out, and he's actually looked pretty good. 9 targets last week against the Saints defense. So much of a better spot this week against the Detroit defense. They should pile up some points here, and 1 touchdown reception at $3,900. We'll definitely be able to hit value at that price tag. You have Hayden Hurst at 37. He's been playing better, and no Julio Jones will help that. You have Evan Ingram, who had 10 targets last week, and getting a little bit more involved as the season comes to a close. Doesn't have a ton of touchdown upside, but he's playable. And then if you want to pay up a little bit, you have Mike Gesicki, depending on if he looks a little bit better if Parker can't play, but even if Parker's in, I feel good about it. He has the better chemistry with Tua than Parker has had this season. And 42 against the Bills. Sign me up for some Gesicki love. And then defenses. Probably go cheap at defense with one of these teams that are not going to be playing their starters here. You have the Browns at $2,500. They look great against Pittsburgh and Mason Rudolph. We know that the story a few weeks or last season, or was that 2 years ago, with that Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph got into it as that game came to a close. But $2,500 for him, or $2,500 for the Browns defense. I feel good about it against Rudolph. Not scared of him at all. You can play the Jets against Cam Newton. He's been so bad recently that chance that Stidham even comes in, and Stidham hasn't been great either. So you could look to the Jets at 23. The Browns, I like them a lot. And then those I think will be somewhat popular. So if you want to be a little bit different, you can maybe look to like the Cardinals at 28. I'm going cheap at defense, below 3K. I think you have 3 great options. Even the Chargers at 28 against, I believe it's Henney who's starting for the Chiefs. They also look playable. So yeah, that's kind of it for the Week 17 breakdown. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. We'll be jumping over to Fanduel now, and I'll discuss my plays on Fanduel. All right, on Fanduel here, quarterback-wise, you have Jackson at 9K. In play, easier to pay up for quarterback on Fanduel, so I think he's definitely a solid option. Cousins is 77. I don't know why they have. I don't know why Kyler Murray is only $7,800 on Fanduel, but I like him a ton against the Rams. Gives you a lot of rushing upside. The matchup is scary, but with all the upside that it presents with his legs, if he sneaks in a rushing touchdown, you'll probably hit value really easily if that does happen, and he gives you a ton of upside. So I think I'll have no problem with paying 78 for Kyler Murray on FanDuel. Running backs here, also probably go cheap at running back on FanDuel. One difference is Madison is only $5,000, so he's much easier to get to on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. And on DraftKings with those 2 4K running backs, you also have them on FanDuel as well, but Madison is only, like, if you plug in Montgomery here, he is 45, so you're paying $500 more for Montgomery than Madison. I mean, for Madison than Montgomery. I'll give me Madison 10 times out of 10 in that scenario. So I like Madison a lot. And then you have like Elliott, who's only 6,500, so he looks solid. And then Gaskin, 67, so both of those running backs also look solid here. I definitely won't be paying 10-2 for Henry, just with salary cap reasons and the fact that I like some cheaper running backs and more expensive wide receivers. Montgomery's in play, Taylor's in play, both are above 8K. So if you want to save some money, you plug in Madison at 5,000, and then I think you can feel good about Gaskin at 67. Wide receivers, still plugging in my 2 that I have on DraftKings, Adams and Calvin Ridley. Expect big games from both. They'll probably be, well, I know Adams will be popular. I'm not sure about Ridley, depending on if people are going to pay up for a running back or not, but I feel good about paying up for both of them. Still leaves you with 56 $100 left on Fanduel. You have plenty of options to choose from here in the mid-range at wide receiver with like Crowder, $6,400. You have Hilton at 63. Sanders is 62. CD Lamb is 61. And then below 6K, you still have decent options to pick from, like Kiki Kuti, Sterling Shepard. Pascal's been surprising recently. Christian Kirk, if you think that Hopkins will be shut down. So, plenty of options. You can plug in a 6K wide receiver and then feel good about your tight end as well. Tight ends on FanDuel here. Same guys that I mentioned on DraftKings. It's Gesicki at $5,900. I think he looks great. Irv Smith at 56. I like him as well. And then you have Jonnu Smith at 53. If you're feeling that, not my favorite, but below 5K range, he looks solid. But I think I'll probably stick to Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith, or Gesicki this week. And then defenses, the Browns on FanDuel are also decently priced here. We can get them at $4,100, so not breaking the bank for them either. You have the Cardinals at $3,800 against a backup quarterback for the Rams, also missing Cooper Kupp. I feel good about the Cardinals defense in a must-win. So that's pretty much it. I'll plug in the Cardinals defense here for you guys. Leaves you with 6,200 left, plenty to choose from. So that's it for the video. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching for the entire NFL season. We'll have videos out for the postseason as well, so I'm not going anywhere. But thanks for watching, and best of luck tomorrow.